And then the second presentation in our IT block is from Henrik Skoglund. Henrik is the IOF responsible for the Inventor system we are using, and he will give us some basic information about how to use the system. Henrik, it's up to you.
Yeah, thank you. As Aaron said, I'm working at the IOF office and also for the Swedish Federation. I split my time between those two. So we will have a more practical session with showing a lot of features in Inventor. So I will switch between the presentation and the web browser. Like this. That was not the correct window. We start with that one. Inventor is mentioned in previous presentations, and that is the only system that IOF uses nowadays for results, storing results. And we are also about to upload historical results from at least World Championships. So we will have 1 point for all entries, all results. Yeah, other systems are using Inventor to get data like World Cup calculation and World ranking. So if you upload it to Inventor, then all other system that needs the data can use it. And that was what I have been talking about, and to be able to use Inventor in a good way, every person need an user ID with some personal information and log in. And we can have a look how it is, for example, for our Tuve Alexandersson as a user profile with a lot of results, so it takes some seconds to load it. But the World Cup runners, we want to have the photos and then some personal information, and then all her results is found on her personal page. So that is the public part of the page. I am now logged on with my user, so I can see how it looks if I want to check my details. I have my name and personal information. I can add some address and the telephone number and social media and so on if I want to. That is not mandatory. I can put in my SI card and EMIT numbers if I have that, so the registration take that without any questions. And one important thing is if we want to send out some information from IOF office or from an organizer, you are able to select if you want to have that information or not. So you have two checkboxes if you want to have information from IOF or some advertising from co-partners. And we also have the system with the athlete license for championships and World Cup. The athletes need a license, providing that they have understood the anti-doping rules and so on. So you can administer it here. You can also see all the athlete license. That is a public list sorted by country who have license. And I should also point out when we are going on with the more practical parts here that I will focus on world ranking events because championship have a little bit more complex setup with one big event where the accreditation is, and then you have all the separate races with their own registration and start list and results and so on. Championships are getting more support from IOF office also with the setup and deadlines and so on. So we will focus now on how to manage a world ranking event. Yeah, back to the presentation. User count, we have mentioned that one. I can also say that you have user levels. You can be member of more than one organization. You can be member of several clubs or a club and federation. And that is listed when you click on your name. You can select what organization you want to be logged on with. So if I select my club instead of the federation, the menu changed to club up here, and I can see information about my club. And then we also have 3 different levels of user rights. We have the normal member user, and we have event organizers. They can, as the name said, organize events and upload start lists and results. And then we have administrators, and actually the only thing that they can do more, it's adding new persons as members. On federation level, we have some more user rights. Then applying, we start with the process from applying for a world ranking event, and then we will go through it all the way to uploading results. Then I need to be with the federation rights, because it's only federations that can apply for world ranking events. The organizer asks the federation if they want to organize it. So we have a sub-menu with apply for world ranking event, and you select what discipline it is, and we select Photo. Then it's a quite simple application form actually. You have some basic information about the name and dates and so on. What I want to point out is this rule deviation requests. It is possible that there are some special needs for having rule deviation, and that is good if it's applied also to the time for making this. So if you select yes here, you can just add free text. We want to do something, and then the Photo Commission can take this under consideration, and if they want, they can ask more questions about it if it's not clear what you mean. And we also need to have some English-speaking persons as a contact person and for the result management. I will not make any new, so I take cancel here and go back to that one. Then we have when the Photo Commission has applied the race, it will be shown in the event calendar. So I will take next year competition that is not set up, and I know that the Swedish one is good to use. This is how it looks when I'm in the edit mode. I need to click on the edit to get into edit mode. So now I get a menu with a lot of things, and it's sorted in some time schedule. So you start with the first one, and then you continue with other things. Actually, the last one, World Ranking Event, it's the last one we added this year. You can go back and see the application form. That can be good to have. But we start with the general information. That is a little bit extended what you had in the application form. You can add the first start time. You can add some social media links, and if punching system is not selected, you should select the correct one. And also the currency, if you're using Inventor for registration fees. Then the currency symbol is collected here. I don't save this one for now. We want to have some more organization information. As I said, the federation is the one applying for the race, and it is possible to add clubs later on. If I just add some letters, it would suggest my club here. So I take that one. And you can add names for event directors and so on. Event advisor, that is your name. That is not possible for the organizer to select. That is something that is, if it's added at the application form, it's here, but otherwise IOF office need to add that one. I take save here, and we see that the club with the logo has been added. And we can also see that the status has now some information what the next step is. Add classes is the next thing that it suggests. But I need also the order here is not so important, but I will follow the order in the menu. So I will continue with arena position. So you get a map and just zoom in where you have the arena position and put the symbol right there. And you can also put an area for the competition area. I will save this even if it's not the correct one, because otherwise the system will protest later on if I don't have the arena and competition area. Event types, that is more of an information for you. World Ranking Event is the default setting, and if it's some of the other Junior World Cup or Junior World Championship or World Championship and so on, the IOF office will see to that the correct ones are checked. Then the most interesting here is the classes and entry fees. So now it's time to listen up. If you don't have any classes, you get a suggestion with to select from base classes or you can copy from a previous event. That is mainly for World Master, I would suggest, when you have 30 or 40 classes. Or you can start with an empty set and do it by yourself. But the first one, create from base classes, is the easiest one, because then we get a lot of base classes, and a normal world ranking event has only men and women. So you select those two and say OK. And you have names and gender, and there is no age restriction for normal classes, so you don't have to add anything there. But if it is a junior class, then you need to add the maximum age for that class. The classes have ID number 1 and 2. That is important later on when you're uploading results, because the ID number is what's used to identify the class. So I take save here. And if I remember that I wanted something more, then I can add new classes. 3. I need to have perhaps VIP registration. And VIPs are not female or male, they are all genders. So I have added VIP. That is also mainly for championships and World Cup, that has VIPs and team officials and press. Then the entry fees. I get an empty page, and again, for a world ranking event, we have a simple mode that is often enough, because you have a normal entry deadline and you get a suggestion of the date and time, and you have a late entry deadline, and you have an entry fee, and perhaps it's a little bit more expensive, 200. But then I remembered that the setting was euro, so I need to change to euro currency. That's 20, and the late entry fee is given in a percentage, 50%. Save. Then I get a summary of what I have added in some different styles. I have the deadlines, 2nd of May and the 12th of May, and all the classes and fees. And if I want to have it sorted by entry fee, or if I want to have it sorted by entry fee by class. So it's the same thing sorted in 3 different ways. We can have a brief look at the advanced mode. Here we now have the 2 entry fees that I have done, normal entry and the late entry. So here it is possible to add more fees. For example, for championships, there are normally 3 deadlines. So we need to have a deadline, 3rd deadline, and there could be a accreditation fee that is not the same for athletes and team officials and VIPs. So you can set up several different for a specific group also. I will not save this because this is a world ranking event. And I go back. And I can now see that the status has changed. So it says that it's time for open up for event for entries. So here I have all the different statuses that event can have, but most of them are set automatically. but I need to manually set the entries as opened. And when I've done that, I can go back to the status. And if I need to suspend the entry for some reason, I can do it. For the last 2 years, this one has been used several times when we have to, in the end, cancel competitions. The other statuses are, as I said, not possible to change. If event is cancelled or moved, then you need to contact the IOF office so we can set and change the status. And one more thing before we go on to the data exchange, that is also a big part of this. It's the documents and links. We want to have all the bulletins uploaded to Eventor, not only with links, because other web pages are not. We don't have any full archive when there are links to pages that doesn't exist anymore. So we want bulletins to be added as PDF files. And if you had other documents, information about accommodation, travel, and things like that, then you can choose if you want to upload it as a PDF or as a link. Then we have covered all in this slide, I think. So we go on to the data exchange, and that is what Henning mentioned a bit in his presentation. I will not go into deep in this, but I will give a brief introduction for you so you know what questions the organizer perhaps have and what you can forward to us in the IOF office. As I mentioned in the beginning, every athlete needs a personal ID to be able to handle the start lists and results. And we have this data exchange page, and that is also divided into 3 parts. You have a general download. Actually, you can download the database with all clubs and runners. And you have an event-specific download section where you can download 3 different files. The first one is for the event, the name of the event, the date, the times, the names of the team officials, not the team official, the organizers' names, the personal names. You have the classes, the names and IDs of classes, and if there are any restrictions on ages and gender. And finally, you have the entries. And as you see, the download is a link to an XML file, and an XML file that is a standard format. IOF has an own standard for handling this type of information about races and start lists and results and so. And the last part is when you upload start lists and results. The start list is not mandatory for World Ranking event to upload, but it's good if it's done. Most big software for timekeeping that you use on the competition day can support this IOF XML standard, so they can produce correct files, and some of them can even handle the upload of the start lists. So you just click on some button in the program to upload it using the ID of the competition as an identifier. And in that case, it's also good if you have downloaded the entries, because then you know that the ID for the runners are correct. As Henrik mentioned that they need to be correct, because otherwise the ranking is not correct, and if there is a World Cup, the World Cup points goes to someone else. There is actually, well, we will handle that regarding the start results lists to find out if there are some errors in the list. The result list is used the same way. You have the XML file, but as you see here, there is a drop-down list, so you can also select to have it from Excel. So I will switch to Excel and give you how that looks like. There's a template used for that. You have the class name, course length, place, the IOF ID, the personal ID, first name, last name, federation ID, nationality, and time. And for the federation ID, perhaps it's a bit difficult to know what they have. So there is a second tab in the Excel file listing all the federations with their numbers. And when this is complete, you copy this section only and go back to this part, adding it here. But one disadvantage of this Excel template is that it can't handle split times. If you're using the XML file, we can upload it with split times. At the moment, there is no connection from Eventor to split time viewer, but it will be in soon future. So all split times that has been uploaded previously will be available. And if I'm going back for this competition, I don't have any start list and results, so I will switch to another competition to see how it looks. This is a competition some weeks ago with uploaded results, and it is possible now to check if there are some persons that there are some mistakes on. We have this connect results, and I found that there is one runner that Eventor thinks could be some error with, so that one is need to be checked. If everyone has correct ID and club and so on, then there is just an empty list here. And all these persons, we have links on their names, so you can also check if you click on the name to see that it goes to the correct person. And in this example, it's the correct one. I also have one more thing that I want to show you in this competition that is really good. Now I'm logged in with Swedish Federation user rights, so I don't have the edit So I need to change to IOF, then I can go and edit. And we have this entry overview. As an organizer, you have always the right to do changes in the entry. And add entries and delete entries and change classes and spot ident numbers and so on. And I see now that they didn't have the entry here, so I can't search. I will see if I can find some other example then. I know that the championships we have some championship in October, I think, or a World Cup at least. European Mountain Bike Championship. Then I go into one of the competitions and entry overview. So this is how it looks like if you have opened the entry for a competition. You have the deadlines listed and how many entries and the total entry fee. And then you can see the classes and also the organizations. And now this was a championship, so then it's the federations. If there is a world ranking event, the clubs will be listed. And then I can go to one of the, I take this way, the classes. Here I have, no, that is actually my mistake again. When the competition is closed, I can't edit the entry. I will have a symbol at the end of the line for each person to edit the entry, to change name and change class and punching card number. But we can see if I can, no, it is the same here. It should be the possibility to add new runners. Another button we can take some competition in the future then, see if we have some. Yeah, here I have that one. Enter new competitor. So I can just select my club again and then just add some person. And then I goes into the entry page to select class and add the emit number. I will not add him now, so I take cancel. So here you see you have the clubs instead of the federations. And one more feature is that you can export all the entries to Excel. That is quite a good feature. So you have the possibility to list and sort them in Inventor if you want to. That is, I think, what I have to present. Some good links in the end. We have a test server. If you want to do some testing, you can feel free to do anything on that one. Set up new competitions and upload and download as you like. And some support and mail addresses also. Any questions? Yes, Kathy.
How do I so click on all those buttons? Yes, hello. I am an event advisor for a world ranking event that Australia will have next year. And it's being run as part of our Australian Championships. So obviously there'll be lots of other people running as well as the M&W 21s. and we would we use Eventor here, our own version of Eventor, and we would normally prefer all of our entries to go through that. Obviously, a lot of those people would be entering as families and so forth, so they'd be wanting to put in one entry for all of the members of their family. They wouldn't want to be going to IOF Eventor to be entering them and then having to go to Australian Eventor to be entering the others. And we want them to pay our bank through our Eventor. Now, is that okay? I mean, they don't have to enter through IOF Eventor?
No, you can select to have another system, and actually when you're using another version of Eventor, you can have a connection. You can add the IOF ID and get an export file, so you can easily export the file that is just to upload to IOF Eventor. Okay,
so that was my second question, that a lot of our runners will have had no connection with our IOF events and won't have an IOF ID. Do they have to go to IOF Eventor to register to get an IOF ID?
Yes.
Okay.
You can, or the organizer can actually do that for them if you want.
Okay.
But only for the world ranking classes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Okay. But if we can do that for them, that might be, I mean, obviously we can ask them who's got an IOF ID, and there'll be a lot that won't have. And rather than send them all off to do the wrong thing at your end, it might be better if we can do it for them rather than, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's quite simple. You add the first name, last name, birth of date, and gender.
Okay.
Or club also you need.
Yep.
So it's 5 different things.
Okay.
You need to add.
Thank you.